Hi. Sometimes when you look at history and politics and economics and you look at them together, you'll see that there are trends where when there's an economic downturn, it tends to be that politics becomes something of a polarized situation, where you have situations where people go to the different extremes. Now, in my life, in my working life, since beginning work in the early 1970s, 1971 to be exact, I worked in an environment that had a lot of conflict. A lot of conflict was going on at the time, polarised thinking between employers and employees. And as the economic situation began to go into further downturn and the Conservative Party took power in 1979, we saw a massive polarisation, and we saw an emergence of a human resource management thinking that was about exploitation of that power that the employers had suddenly achieved. We saw massive strikes such as the miners' strike in 1984-5. Now, I was involved in that, and I was involved in doing things like getting food to mining villages in South Yorkshire around Barnsley and trying to get around police roadblocks. Yes, police roadblocks that prevented or tried to prevent us from getting food to families. Now, what I'm seeing at the moment is as we're going into an economic downturn, we're looking at a situation where employers are sometimes taking advantage of this to impose authoritarian rule over their employees. Now, ask yourself, is this the kind of society that we want to see re-emerge? As we go into economic downturn, we look at problems within employment where authority is asserted. Well, I will tell you that this will lead to further and further conflict. As employers continue down this route, we are looking at employees becoming more and more agitated, more and more compliant, but reluctantly compliant with the authority of those employers. I address my work, my book, Human Resource Management Made Easy, these videos, I address them to the smaller employer and the employees of the smaller employer, which constitutes a massive part of our economy. And I'm saying that through my experience since those conflict times in the 1970s and 1980s, things had improved a lot. Things had improved where I had become a human resource manager and involved and engaged with both management and trade unions to bring progress to the places that I work. Progress where trade unions were involved with managers in formulating policies on equality and diversity, where trade unions and management were involved in formulating educational strategies for employees which improved not only the chances of those employees but improved the services that were being offered by the employer. Improvement all around by open dialogue, by engagement. Not to say that the trade unions shouldn't be in a role where they defend their members when being disciplined or whatever, they have that absolute right to do that. It's not detracting from that. I'm talking about creating relationships between management and workers that are good for both the business and the management and the workers, the employees. You can't lose by doing this kind of thing. You can't lose by this kind of collaborative approach to the future of our businesses. And in this particular crisis time, we're looking at an absolute need for that kind of engagement. Now, I say through my book many times that it's about ethics. It's about employers that want to be ethical, progressive employers. And if you don't want to be, if you want to get on the authoritarian bandwagon, like some of the larger businesses that are operating in the UK at the moment, if you want to be one of those exploitative companies, managers, then my book, my videos are not for you. If you want to be progressive, if you want to start talking about engagement of employees and looking forward to a future where we're advancing our civilization through the way that we work together, as opposed to going back to God knows when, 1950s, 1930s, 1900s, the 19th century. Is that what we're looking to do? Do we want that kind of thing? Or do we want to have prosperity? Do we want to have a civilized approach to the way that we engage in employee relations? Now, my next book, which I'm writing at the moment, is about employee relations. And again, it's about ethics. It's about ethics within those relationships with workers. It's about engaging people. And so if you're into progressive, ethical management practices, then please purchase my book, keep tuning into these videos, engage my services. If you do not want that, then switch off. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Bye.